Hello, and welcome back to the podcast where you are invited for lighthearted conversations about things that matter as you seek to live your most meaningful, beautiful, and joyful life. I'm your host, Dr. Edie Wadsworth, and I hope you enjoy your stay here at the House of Joy. Well, hi, dear ones. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are talking all about 5 practical ways that you can show up as your best, most loving, most nourishing self to you and others. I'm really excited about this one too, because it's really practical. And I think things that we all want to commit to practicing in our daily lives so that we can be a good neighbor and show up to our lives and to the people in our lives the way we want to. So, summertime at my house is a time of literally having the doors wide open to people coming to visit, coming to spend the weekend. We pretty much have constant company until we head up north to Minnesota in late July. And listen, it is my favorite. Having a full house is my absolute favorite. And I love having our kids home. I love welcoming their friends or whoever else ends up at the house. I love it so much. I was thinking about this because over the last, 10 or 15 years, well, some of you might remember, how many of you, by the way, have been in my world since I wrote my hospitality book? Like, was that 10, 15 years ago? I wrote a book, an ebook called 31 Days to Hospitality. And I've been thinking about this for a long time, is what I'm trying to say. When you're welcoming someone into your house, especially if you want to make a habit of hospitality, which reminds me of a book I read this year called Unreasonable Hospitality. So good, about a restaurant in Manhattan where they practice unreasonable hospitality. I love that phrase, by the way. But if you're going to practice something like unreasonable hospitality, I think one of the first things you got to do is you got to go, oh, so there are things about this house that I need to clean, declutter, make sure that it's, in good shape for company. Think about how I want to stock it, what food that I want to have here, so it makes it easy on me and everyone else to get, meals on the table when everybody's here. So all of those things you kind of have to think about beforehand. And when I think about how I want to show up to my own life, I think about it actually a lot in the same way. What is it in my own mind and heart that I need to sort of clean out, take inventory of, take care of, process, so that I am able to practice unreasonable hospitality as a human to another human? And so if you are thinking about all the ways, especially us as women, especially in midlife, the ways that we are pouring out to other people, the ways that we are giving to other people, what practices do we need to have in place so that we do show up how we want? So that, I've been to people's houses before where when you get there, they're so stressed out about having you there and they're not enjoying themselves that it makes it hard for you to enjoy yourself. And I don't want to have that experience of my own life. And I certainly don't want to have other people have that experience of being in my presence that way. And I think what we have to do is we have to learn how to give ourselves what we need in order to show up in the ways that we want to show up. And when we do this, I think it makes it so possible for us to then be truly present, really enjoy ourselves, be easily delighted by the people in our lives. And it's funny because a couple weekends ago, we had Emmy's friends here, and oh my gosh, you guys, I so enjoyed them. I just enjoyed talking to them and being around them and just being able to spend time with them. And then we've had Marcus here, and he is so funny and so fun to be around. And he and Emmy were here together, and it's just been so fun. But I think part of what makes that possible is that I have been committed to doing my own work, my own internal work, like the hard work of being a human, of acknowledging yourself and asking yourself, oh, what are the thoughts that I'm thinking, that have me feeling in a way that I don't love? Or what are the emotions that I have been avoiding or not willing to process that have me overthinking about problems in my own life or struggles in my own life? I think you have to be willing to do some of that work so that when you show up for other people, you have kind of done the the sort of house cleaning, the internal house cleaning and getting ready that needs to be done so that you're ready, so that you're ready to show up. And I think about that for my own self and my own house. I love it when people come into my house and it feels it's clean, it's beautiful, it's organized. There's the diffusers going. It smells amazing. And I have worked hard over the past 10 or 15 years to create that because I'm not normally a person that I'm normally, creative and a little cluttery and all of that. So I have to kind of work hard, maybe harder than most people to create spaces like that. And I think about how we do that internally so that we are ready to show up to our lives and to the people in our lives in the way that we want. So we're going to talk about that today. First of all, why it's important for ourselves and for others, and just the benefits of doing it. And we'll talk about it as we kind of go through the 5 ways. So I'm going to start with the way number 1, which is committing to a practice of renewing your mind, of figuring out what is it that I'm thinking? Do I have some limiting beliefs that are having me showing up in a way I don't like? Have I become addicted to some negative thought patterns, to some negative thinking? And listen, this may seem simple, but most people are not doing this. It's basically like house cleaning your brain, taking a look at what's in there. Like, oh, I have been so focusing on what's wrong with everybody, what's wrong with the world. Listen, we have never lived in a time where if you want to focus on what's wrong in the world, you can turn any channel on, listen to almost any podcast, flip any social media on, and you can get a steady diet of everything that's wrong with the world. But you have to ask yourself, if I'm getting a steady diet of that all the time, how is that affecting me? And how am I then showing up in the world? Am I showing up as my most loving, nurturing, joyful self? Probably not. And some of the ways that I do this, and I use my 90-day dream planner that we use in life mentoring school to do this. And there's spaces in here. We have a whole section in our planner for doing brain dumps or thought downloads so that you can get an inventory of what is in your brain. What are you thinking? And this habit of journaling, of writing down what you're thinking, of running it through a creation cycle, which is a tool that I teach, where you basically ask yourself, okay, of these thoughts that I'm thinking, what is that creating for me internally? Your body's a really powerful pharmacy, so it will create for you whatever you ask it to. So with your constant thoughts, do you like how that's making you feel internally? And committing to a regular practice of this can be so powerful. You can do this for yourself, obviously, in journaling, meditating, doing thought downloads. You can also do this with a coach. This is why I think it's so important to get yourself in some kind of scenario where this is a regular practice. You can, I've had a coach. Really, I think I've had a coach for almost 3.5 years straight that I've been getting my brain coached. What is in here? And how can I decide on purpose how I want to think about my life, how I want to think about my relationships so that I show up in a way that I really want? So are you doing a daily practice of committing to seeing what's up there, doing a little house cleaning in your brain and asking yourself, is this what I want to be focusing on in my life? Does focusing on this give me the life I want? Does focusing on this give me the relationships that I want? And as you clean out your mind and your heart, you make room for other people. As you take care of your thoughts and mind, you make room to welcome other people. It's just like cleaning your house and getting your house beautiful and organized before other people come. You make room for them, you make room for their stuff. Think about it like, I want to be a person who can bear the burdens of other people, but I can't do that if my own life is completely jam-packed full of my own burdens that I haven't dealt with and processed. So doing your own internal work is so important if you want to make space for other people, if you want to truly be present for them. If you like, imagine you're having company next weekend and you want to really be present for them and you want to be curious about their lives, well, you're going to have to do a little of your own internal house cleaning. You're going to have to figure out, what am I obsessing about in my own brain that keeps me from being present with other people? And I promise you that as you make this a regular practice, what you will find is that it frees up so much space in your brain so that you can focus on other people, so that you can be curious about them, so that you can have compassion for them. It gives you that chance to pause before you just react to other people. And I can tell when I'm not doing this regularly enough, I just get reactive. I get reactive to, especially to the people closest to me. So ask yourself, are you in a season of life where you're just reacting to everything, where you feel like you're kind of always frustrated or always on edge? It's probably because you're not taking enough time to take inventory of yourself, to ask yourself, what are the thoughts that I've been ruminating on, focusing on that aren't serving me? And you get to choose. Listen, you can have a million thoughts come in your head, but you're the one who gets to choose the ones that you focus on, that you meditate on. And are you doing that intentionally so that it gives you the life you want? Second thing is committing to processing emotions, committing to acknowledging yourself. Oh, interesting that I'm feeling so frustrated. Can I pause for a minute? Be with myself in this frustration, not make myself wrong for it. Ask myself, like, oh, where have I maybe been ignoring myself so that this frustration is just coming up, or this reaction is just coming up? And I usually notice this if I'm too short with the people in my life. That to me is always a sign, like, oh, where are you too short with yourself? Where are you not acknowledging yourself? Where are you not giving yourself enough space in your life to process your own life, to process what's going on for you? I recently got this sort of upper respiratory thing, and I always like to pause even when I get something like that. Like, oh, where have I maybe been ignoring myself physically? Where have I not been taking care of myself as much as I want? Did I miss my supplements for 4 or 5 days in a row because I was so busy or whatever? I just like to ask myself, especially when I notice myself reacting, where am I not taking enough time to acknowledge my own life, process my own emotions? Because as soon as I take time to do that, and it doesn't take that long, you guys, making this a daily practice can take less than 10 minutes a day. It makes a huge difference in how you show up to other people. The third thing that I think really helps is to do more of what brings us joy. Our lives so easily get filled to the brim of like responsibilities. Are we making room for things that feel fun, for things that are joyful? It's funny because um, we had, again, this company that, we often love to have in the summer when we're on a downtime and when everybody leaves for a few days. I really like to kind of um, take that time to give myself some margin to decide, like, oh, it's been so fun to have people for a few days. Now how can I recharge? How can I do things that recharge me, that bring me joy? Maybe it's reading a fiction book. Often for me it's walking outside. I love to take hot baths at night, and sometimes, if I'm in a busy few days of having company, I'll just let that go. What are you letting go of that you need to do to sort of recharge yourself, to give yourself more joy? We have been, as you probably know if you follow on Instagram, we have been surfing like crazy. We have a wake surf boat that we bought last year, and we've been surfing like crazy. And I love it, you guys. Like, it's such a challenge and also so fun, brings me so much joy. And then I feel like after that, I need a day or two of like, okay, let me, take good care of myself. Same thing with my workouts. I love to go to CrossFit and love to get the workout, but you've got to have the balance of the recovery of that. Am I prioritizing sleep? Am I even taking time to make that fun and not just feel like drudgery too? And so, in so many ways, small ways, are you prioritizing things in your own life that bring you joy? Fourth thing is, are you committing to your physical wellness? Are you feeding yourself well? This is something that I am always asking myself. Are you feeding yourself well? Are you resting well? Are you recovering well? Are you getting your walks in? And it's just something that I know we as women put aside so easily. I got in the habit through the winter where I was making green juice every Wednesday, and then I'd have several days of green juice. I need to get a better juicer so that it's easier to make juice. My juicer is so clunky. But until I got this upper respiratory thing, I've neglected that for like 4 weeks in a row. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I need to make my green juice. So, in what ways are you neglecting yourself physically? as you take better care of yourself, it's like taking care of your house physically. I remember a few weeks ago before we had company, we're like, okay, we need to get there's this thing in this bathroom that needs to be fixed. There's this sink that's dripping a little bit. Like, we got things in our house fixed. So, like the physical part of welcoming people into your house, same thing that you really need to do to get ready, feeding yourself well. Like, I know that when you're having company, you think about, okay, so we're having company and here's what we want to have. And you go all out and you think of things that you want to make and all of that. But are you doing that for yourself on a regular basis so that you're physically ready to show up to your life? And listen, as a woman in this crazy sometimes stage of midlife, I can just ignore myself. So I constantly have to work on this. Um, am I taking good care of myself physically? Even when I get something like this upper respiratory thing, you guys, I ended up having to go to get this irrigation in my ear. And of course, last year I got all addicted to these sinus washings after we would go wake surfing. Like, it's a whole thing. But I know I got to take good care of myself. And so I'm asking myself, how can I do that again so that I can show up, so that I can serve my neighbors, so that I can be my most loving, present, joyful self? Fifth thing is, are you surrounding yourself with people, support programs that help you do this? I love surrounding myself with the support that I need. And I think as women, we so often do this. I was thinking of this analogy of summer camp because it's summertime. I was thinking, as women, when the summer is coming, we will go to any length, spend any amount of money to make sure our kids get to go to all these camps. Oh, I want him to learn about this. I want to expose him to this. I want, to make sure he has a great experience here. We're in the process of doing that. Tom went to a camp about a month ago. He's getting ready to go to another camp, and just all the preparation and expense and things we invest in for our kids to make sure that they have the experience they need. We're surrounding them with people or experiences that we know will be good for them. And why do we neglect ourselves here? Women, I'm talking to you right now. Why do we say, like, I was talking about this too in my workshop on Friday, that we will do this. Like, I think of 2 years ago, I spent a bloody fortune on Tom going to camp, getting the stuff that he needed in camp. And then when it comes to like hiring a coach for ourselves or getting ourselves in a group that, we know will be helpful, or getting a program where we want to support ourselves, like, oh, I want to, get better at whatever, money management, or I want to, whatever it is that we want to get better at, or we know we need support in, we're so hesitant sometimes to do that. And I want to challenge us that if we want to be the women that we want to be in the world and show up in powerful ways and give powerfully and be present and joyful and loving and nurturing to other people in our lives, can we give ourselves what we need in order to do that? And I have gotten so much better at doing this over the last few years, and it's made a huge difference. I feel like I am continually doing this so that I can continually show up in more loving, more powerful, more joyful ways in my own life. It'll give you the space to do that. I think also what it has done for me is it has given me enough margin in my own life that I just have the capacity and the space and the bandwidth to show up for other people. I can be present. I'm ready to be delighted and ready to have fun. Most of the time, I feel like I know how to make magical moments and experiences out of something that otherwise might be mundane. And I think it comes from prioritizing this in my own life. How can I give myself the support that I need? So I hope that is helpful for you. I know some of you, especially if you attended our Thrive in Midlife workshop. I know some of you have already done this. You have joined Life Mentoring School. Life Mentoring School is open, you guys. This is my coaching program where I support women in all of the ways they need to be supported so that they can show up powerfully to their own lives. And I am telling you, there is literally nothing like this program. I've looked around out there. I've joined lots of programs, but I promise you, if you need a community at such a reasonable investment, like if you were going to go out and hire your own private one-on-one coach, you'd pay I don't know, for most people, $3,000, $5,000 to coach with someone for maybe 6 months. This program is so affordable to give yourself the community, the support that you need so that you can show up to your life the way you want. If you've been feeling a little stale in your life, if you've been feeling like, no, I have not been committing to cleaning out my brain, to keeping my heart ready, to doing things that bring me joy, to surrounding myself with people that inspire me, that support me. If you know, like I did when I first started doing programs like this, if you know that you want to reconnect with yourself, if you want to reconnect with the people in your life in powerful ways, if you want to start really setting goals that inspire you and following through, taking control of your thoughts of emotions so that you can be more mentally and emotionally resilient and show up to your life the way you want, take the leap today. Join us in Life Mentoring School. We are open through the end of the week. ediewadsworthcoaching.com/enroll. And I promise you, this program will change your life. I do not make that claim lightly. I've just seen it happen over and over and over again. The potential that is inside of you, we can help you bring that to the forefront so that you really uncover the gifts that you've been given, so that you create a life that you're obsessed with, a life that then overflows to other people. I've been around very few people in my life who just their presence was healing. Just their presence felt like an overflow of the best things in life. And I can promise you that those people in my own life who were that to me were making it a priority. We're doing the internal work possible so that they could show up like that. And I know you do want to show up like that. I know that that is the person you want to be. You want to ditch the overwhelm, the stuckness, the self doubt so that you can live every day inspired. And we can help you do that. The other thing that's so cool, you guys, is that when you do join our program for a yearly program, you get our 90-day dream planner. If you're watching on YouTube, here's the new one. It's so beautiful. And this is the tool that you will use to help you do these steps every day. So this is not a one and done. This is not a 10 to 3 day workshop and then it's done. This is committing to daily practices. So whether you join us or not, commit to doing these things daily. And I promise you, you will love the results in your life. You will love the space that it gives in your own brain and in your own heart so that you can show up for other people the way you want. All right. I hope you have a great rest of your week and I will see you soon.